All right, picture this. You're walking through misty green fields in Ireland. The sun's just peeking over the horizon, and there's a chill in the air that practically begs for a warm drink. Now, what if I told you the story of Irish whiskey is just as rich and layered as the landscape itself? Let's dive in. First, let's get one thing straight. Irish whiskey isn't just a drink. It's a piece of history, a symbol of Irish ingenuity, and honestly, a bit of a survivor. The origin? Well, it goes back over 1,000 years. The word whiskey itself actually comes from the Irish phrase uisce beatha, which means water of life. Not bad for a nickname, right? The story starts way back in the 12th century. It's believed that Irish monks were the first to distill spirits in Europe, borrowing the technique from their trips to the Mediterranean, where they saw people distilling perfumes. But being Irish, creative and maybe a little mischievous, they thought, why not make this drinkable? So they did. Early Irish whiskey was pretty rough. It was unaged, it was raw, and probably tasted like you were swallowing a campfire. But it caught on. By the 1400s, whiskey was so popular in Ireland that even chieftains and royalty were knocking it back. Fast forward to the 1600s and 1700s. Irish whiskey was booming. In fact, by the 18th century, there were thousands of tiny distilleries scattered across the country. Sometimes legal, sometimes less so. It was basically the craft whiskey movement before it was cool. They just got more creative, inventing the famous pot still method, which gave Irish whiskey its signature smoothness and slightly spicy kick. By the 1800s, Irish whiskey was the most popular spirit in the world. Victorian Londoners loved it. Americans couldn't get enough. Even Russia was importing barrels. But then, disaster struck, not once, but a few times. First came the invention of the column still in Scotland, which let Scottish distilleries make whiskey faster and cheaper. Then, the Irish War of Independence and Prohibition in America basically cut off two of their biggest markets. Add in a few world wars and economic struggles, and the Irish whiskey industry nearly vanished. But here's the thing about Ireland. It's resilient. In the late 20th century, a handful of distilleries kept the flame alive. New distilleries opened, old ones were revived, and suddenly, Irish whiskey was back on the map. Today, it's one of the fastest-growing spirits in the world, enjoyed in fancy bars and cozy pubs alike. So the next time you pour yourself a glass of Irish whiskey, remember, you're not just tasting a drink, you're sipping on centuries of rebellion, creativity, and a whole lot of Irish luck.